Hi, my name is Dr. Megan Fay, and today I'm going to be talking to you about ARFID. I'm a licensed psychologist who specializes in the treatment of obsessive-compulsive disorders, anxiety disorders, and eating disorders. One of the disorders that I specialize in is a disorder called Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, or ARFID. This is the first video in a series on ARFID. I'm hoping that this video series can provide a better understanding of what ARFID is, what the different treatment options are, and how to find the right treatment provider. So let's start at the beginning. What is ARFID? ARFID is often described as extremely picky eating, but it's more than that. People with ARFID usually struggle to eat due to the qualities of the food they're eating. This can be due to strong feelings of disgust, issues with food based on texture, such as how it feels to bite into a food that has a bursting sensation like grapes or beans, only eating certain brands of food, only eating food that's prepared in a certain way, for instance, cutting off all the edges, worry about choking or gagging on food, or difficulties eating due to not really liking food at all. This is more than just being picky. This can dominate a person's ability to eat in a lot of different settings, and this can interfere with getting adequate nutrition. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual is used to diagnose people with mental health diagnoses in the United States. According to this manual, people with ARFID typically fall into one of three categories for why they have trouble eating. The first is a lack of interest in eating or food. The second is an avoidance of food based on sensory characteristics of food or feelings of disgust. And the third is a worry about possible negative consequences of eating, such as choking, gagging, or vomiting. While ARFID is considered an eating disorder, it is not the same as other more well-known eating disorders such as anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa. This is because ARFID is not about an effort to lose weight or a dissatisfaction with appearance. ARFID is about struggling to eat because of difficulties with the food itself. This may sound simple, but for many people, this can lead to not getting enough nutrition or calories. For children, this can impact growth and development and can cause long-lasting health difficulties into adulthood. Many people who struggle with ARFID in childhood end up with health consequences like low bone density due to cutting out whole food groups like fruit, vegetables, dairy, and other important nutritional elements. Another difficulty is that many people struggle to eat in a variety of settings. People with ARFID often have conditions for eating. For example, they may find it is only acceptable to eat safe foods if they're prepared in a certain way, or if they belong to a certain brand, or are prepared by a familiar person. This means that eating in a restaurant or going to a party can be difficult because the same foods that are typically liked or eaten at home can be experienced as different and unacceptable. This part can be very difficult for people without ARFID to understand because it seems like someone should just be able to eat and they don't understand why the person with ARFID is struggling so much. But these seemingly small variations in the food, such as whether those chicken nuggets came from fast food place A or fast food place B, or whether they're slightly soggier or crispier than usual, this can make a huge difference in whether a person with ARFID feels they are able to eat. So what do we do about this? How do we treat it? For many people, the first step is adjusting how we're thinking about the goal. A lot of people come into ARFID treatment hoping to like lots of new foods. And with repeated exposure to new foods, it is certainly possible to adapt to liking them. However, for many people, disgust is a huge piece of what holds them back from eating in ARFID. And disgust is a primary emotion. Disgust might be hard to change, meaning you might not love a lot of new foods, but with practice you can learn to handle disgust. Therefore, a more helpful goal can be being able to feel disgusted or uncomfortable and still keep eating. This kind of practice helps us change our beliefs around eating, specifically that we can eat and eating is not conditional, meaning we can eat even if we don't like the food or we feel uncomfortable in a setting. This is where the real freedom comes into play. If you can learn to eat while uncomfortable and learn that you can handle that feeling, you can eat a lot of different things in a lot of different places, and comfort or joy doesn't have to be a part of the rules for eating. In my next video, I'll be getting into specific ways to practice doing this work through use of cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, including what's known as exposure practice. To give you a brief overview, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, looks at how our beliefs shape our behavior and emotions, and vice versa. Through exposure practice, we get to practice doing the thing that causes us fear or discomfort, and in the process, we get the opportunity to challenge our beliefs about how we can handle that uncomfortable feeling and learn new ways for coping with the emotions that come up. With ARFID, this means trying new foods by changing one variable at a time, such as the setting, the brand, whether or not we leave the edges on, and so on. The purpose is to go towards avoided challenges in small, manageable ways that allow us to build off of our past successes progressively over time. While these videos can be a helpful start for understanding treatment, they are not a replacement for treatment, and it's important that you're getting help for your specific experience of ARFID by building your own treatment team. How can you go about doing this? The first step can be finding a therapist. Many people often start off by finding a therapist who specializes in eating disorders. However, another helpful resource is looking into clinics that specialize in the treatment of anxiety disorders and obsessive compulsive disorders, as many of the treatment techniques that are used to treat these diagnoses are also very helpful in the treatment of ARFID. I also strongly recommend collaborating with a dietitian who can help design a meal plan for introducing foods into your diet, as well as working with a medical provider to keep tabs on any health concerns you may experience related to ARFID. Now that we've laid the groundwork for what ARFID is, how to start thinking about treating it with CBT and exposure therapy techniques, and how to go about building a treatment team, we're ready to get into our next video, which will look at exposure strategies for challenging ARFID. In that video, I'll talk more about specific approaches for changing your experience of ARFID. Stay tuned for more videos in this series where I'll explore tips for parents of children with ARFID, as well as specific tools for adults who struggle with ARFID. If you've liked this video, please rate and subscribe. Again, I'm licensed psychologist Dr. Megan Fay. Thanks for watching, and check back soon for future videos in this series.